say 153. We are Sakawana.
We're live on your election headquarters on DSTV channel 421, GoTV 144. We're streaming on Facebook. You can get us on Instagram and Twitter. Follow us on Joy News on TV. We stream live on myjoyonline.com and on YouTube. My name is Gifty Ando Apia. Do stay tuned. Low turnout at various centers at the Electoral Commission as the Electoral Commission begins the exhibition of the provisional voters register today is what happened. The exercise, which will continue for the next 8 days, is taking place simultaneously across all 33,367 centers nationwide and is starting from 7 a.m. to 6 p.m. daily, including Saturdays and Sundays. But a visit to some exhibition centers here in Accra reveal very little activity with low turnout of registered persons seeking to verify their details. Manuel Quanting was at the De Youngsters International School here at Kokomlemle earlier and reports that only 9 out of 684 people had verified 4 hours into the exercise. Take a look.
A dull Friday at the De Youngsters International School Exhibition Center. 2 centers combined with about 684 registered voters. They're expected to come and check their details and confirm names and spellings and so on. We'll try to get closer to some of the EC officials here and speak to them about how the process has been so far. How long have you been here?
4 hours now.
4 hours now. Okay, so I mean, what is the progress that you're having here?
No, not much. The people are now. We are expecting the people to come and check their names on the provisional register. But as at now, we are having about 9 people who have checked.
9 people. That is for your polling center or for
both?
For both of the polling centers.
The 2 polling stations. Yeah. We have 9 people as at now.
Out of how many?
Out of 684, yeah. So but we are hoping for them to come and check. But for the exceptional, the multiple list, we have, for my center, I have only 1 person who have done multiple registration. So we are hoping if the person will come and object to the name, his name, which has appeared on the multiple list.
I'll try to speak to, I see one gentleman here who has come to, confirm and check his name. Have you gone through the process yet?
Yes, please.
Okay, so how was the process?
It's really cool. I came here and nobody was here, so I just made it fast and I'm on my way going.
Okay. So how long did it take you?
I mean, less than 1 minute.
Less than 1 minute? Yes. But we know that the EC has, giving out a code, I think at 1422, that you could use to check. Did you try it?
Yes, I did it earlier in the morning, but I realized it didn't work, so I decided to come to the center to find out.
Okay. So you know that code and you tried it?
Yeah, that is 1422.
1422, you tried it, didn't work?
Yes, please.
The EC's official at the center, Frank Darko, confirms to me how they've tried in vain to access the system.
Okay, but we tried to, but it's not active now. I don't know. We've tried, but it's not active now. So I don't know if we can check. So, yeah.
Do you suspect that is one of the reasons that people are not coming to the polling center to confirm?
It could be, but the system, Ghana, for the previous checking the exhibition the numbers is not encouraging.
So that gives you an idea of what happened here in Accra. But let's take you to the Upper West region where Rafiq Salam has been monitoring the situation for us. Hello, Rafiq. Rafiq, can you hear me?
Hello, Gifty.
Great. Rafiq, what can you report today from WA?
In the Upper West region, the exercise is going on peacefully in all the exhibition centers, but there's one major challenge which some of the prospective voters came around, and so has to do with missing names. Talk about a place like Limairi Ahmadiyya Mosque. They're having about 836 registrants on the list, but as we speak now, there were about 736, so it means that about 98 names were missing on the register. So I tried to speak to the EC, and they explained that they have a supplementary list, and then which covers everybody. So they should not entertain any fears regarding regarding voting on polling day. And so, but some of the centers that I visited, there's low turnout. Not many people are there. A place like the Wahai Court Complex, Nairi, out of about over 300 people, only 34 people so far have checked their names.
So low turnout all over. But what does the EC there mean when they talk about a supplementary list? Did they explain a bit further for you?
When I spoke to the Upper West Regional Director of the Electoral Commission, Ali Osman Adamu, he told me that they have 2 registers, and then the first one that was sent to the registration centers or the polling centers has to do with the first list. But once they complain, I'm told that they are going around with the other registrar, other register, and then the people are now finding their names in the new register that they have brought. So they have 2 registers, 1 and 2, one that covers everybody, but that what they presented first in the morning was not comprehensive as the one that they are distributing now.
I see. Has there been any issues about the exemptions list? Yesterday, the Electoral Commission told us that there will be an exemptions list and a multiple registration list. If you find your name on those lists, you will not be voting. Were there any issues around that as well?
I haven't checked that, so I'm not in a position to talk about that.
That's all right. Rafiq, thank you so much. And we'll be getting back to Rafiq Salam and our other correspondent on the Pulse at 3 p.m. where we will look a bit more into this particular issue. Now, Sylvia Ano is Head of Public Affairs at the Electoral Commission. She's joining us on the phone to answer some of these questions that have come up. And Madam, thank you so much for your time this afternoon.
Thank you for having me.
So there seems to be a problem with the short code. This morning, we've just interacted with someone who could not find his details when he tried to check it. This must have come to your attention. How are you fixing that problem?
Yeah, thank you very much. Thanks for having me. There was a little traffic in the morning, So we are about to issue a statement on that. Okay. It means that if you have already imputed your ID number to 1422, you needn't do it again. Because if you do it again, 30% will be deducted from your account. So what you have to do is that you have to wait till you get the information. Definitely it will come. It will come very soon. We had a technical issue, and the technicians have worked towards that. So you can try now. The system is working.
So people should try now.
Who started, you check and see. If it doesn't come, it will come shortly. But just give it a try.
I would have loved it if you were, say, on Zoom, so we could give it a try. But that's okay. I will try perhaps after the... You have checked that already? Okay, that's all right. But then, if yesterday what we were told was that when you do the 1422, you get the name, you get your constituency, you get the name of the district, etc. You're also supposed to find your picture. Is that correct?
The essence is that you get your details of you get to know your actual polling station. The name will come, and then if there are any issues and other details, if there are any issues, it means that you would have to go to the registration center. Sorry, the exhibition center to have it rectified.
Okay, can you come back? Can you go back on what you just said? I lost you.
One second. One second.
Okay.
Yes.
Yes.
Please go on.
So I'm asking about what you're supposed to get with the 1422.
When you dial 1422, 1 second. When you dial 1422, when you dial your input your ID number to 142, you get to see your name, your voter ID number, your age, your gender, polling station code, polling station, your district, and then the region.
Yeah.
These are the things that will pop up.
So it doesn't include your picture popping up on your phone?
These are the things that will pop up.
Okay, does it mean that, because just to be sure, you might check and have your name and everything, but if you get to the polling center, because pictures were taken, you get to the polling center on the day of voting and you can't, maybe the picture doesn't match, you know, with the name doesn't match the picture on the ID. Does it mean that you should check on phone and still go to the exhibition center to just check for your picture to be sure it's there?
The essence of you checking the details is that, let's look at this scenario.
Okay.
You may have registered in Accra and you have traveled to Kumasi during the exhibition. It's important for you to check your details. So therefore you input your ID number to check your details. Beginning the exercise from the 18th, which is today, to the 25th. So you have some time. You know, if there are any issues, you can always come back and have it rectified. That is it. But the main thing is that that is a secondary option. But the crux of the matter is that it is better for you to go to the exhibition. Sorry about that. It is better for you to go to the exhibition center yourself to check your details and have it rectified. If there are any problems, then you have them rectified.
That leaves a lot of questions again with the phone bit, but let's move on because I'm running out of time. One thing I also like to find out is the exemption and the multiple registration list. Today, Rafik is reporting that some people went there, they couldn't find their name, but they were told that there is a supplementary list. What is the supplementary list, and why are all those names not in the list of what the officials are supposed to be checking?
Let me say that the essence of the exhibition exercise is to make sure that corrections are made if they find any anomaly. Can you please call me back? Can you please call me back? I have it.
Okay, I'm not sure if that was for us, but let's see if we can try and raise it back. Otherwise, we'll do that on the pulse at 3 p.m. We'll talk a bit more on that when we go around the country to our correspondents, and we also get some responses from the Electoral Commission. I talked to you about the flag bearer of the NDC and what he is doing. Well, Mr. Mahama has wrapped up his first day tour on the Bono East region, and he did that in Atebubu. He arrived in the area at about 10 p.m. Take a look at the reception, and then we'll hear what he had to tell the people there. So, former President John Mahama has been describing the government's promise of replacing the Okada trade with affordable, locally assembled vehicles as Sakawa. He's been addressing the chiefs and people of Kwame Danso in the Sene West District as part of his 3-day tour of the Bono region, and promised them that the next NDC government, should they win power, would provide motorbikes to Okada riders on credit, for which they would have to pay back in installment.
Vice President said, baby, almost a sign, we said, Okada, you want to get the number, so Okada for moto, here, the amount of car. And I said, and then we're going to put on the Mini Chesa, Abraham Obaye, Saka, 1 million, 1 down, $1 million per constituency, 1 district, 1 factory. We are Saka, 1 million Saka, 1 million. Yamoto no jama esa nasi sabna mai na ya kasa yenye juma tiya de akale se ebe kwa mamnu sene beya ebe nya moto nibi na ya de amao na o ye kakaka na utia moto kakaka utia bia na moto na ndano ya.
That's Mr. Mahama there speaking to the people in the Sine West District, where he essentially tells them that we told you in our manifesto that we'll make Okada, we will regularize Okada and make it legal. Of course, it is an illegal venture at the moment. He said, when we told you that, the Vice President, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, came out to tell you that they would rather take your motorbikes and give you vehicles, and vehicles that you would have to pay back in installment. He says that is Sakawa. It essentially, that's untrue. And so he's asking them, he's telling them that if he should win power, will provide them motorbikes, and those motorbikes will have to be paid in installments, and after a while it becomes your own. Anas Sabit is on the tour with the NDC. He's also joining me on the phone with updates. Hello, Anas. Why is the NDC flag bearer at the moment, and what has he been doing?
He's currently in the constituency of the Bono East region, and he has just finished an engagement with the Omanhene of the Yeji Traditional Council, who also acts as the president of the Bono Regional House of Chiefs, Nanayao Kadbet, where he will also be having a mini deba with the people of the Yeji area.
What has he been saying to these people he's been meeting?
In fact, the Bono chief has cautioned the president and then other political parties to resist from engaging into partisan politics as the Constitution do not mandate them to do so. And he also called on other chiefs to also desist from engaging in partisan politics. So he called on the former president to get this message across to party people so they will stop engaging in partisan politics. On the part of the former president, he also assured the people that his party and then the NDC in general are peaceful parties and they are not going to engage in partisan politics. He also assured them that when voted into office, he's going to establish a landing site where fishing activities will be engaged when he comes into office. Currently, he's also addressing another mini deba where he has a couple of things to be putting before the people here.
What next? Where next does he go? Sorry.
From here, he will be moving to the two West districts, that is Prime, where he will meet the paramount chief of the Prime Traditional Council. He will also be engaging the Tijaniya Muslim community in Prime. From there, he will move to Abate, where also he will be engaging the different people of the area. Today, he will be ending the tour in the Kintampo North constituency, where we know there will be a mini deba, Zabrama, Apifika, and then he will be commissioning a factory, a cassava factory that has been established by the Kintampo North Member of Parliament, who is also a member of the National Democratic Congress, Honorable Etobondi. That will be the final point of call for today. So the former president will be commissioning that particular factory when he gets to Kintampo this afternoon.
Anas Sabit, thank you. Now, there is one seat for grabs, but the NPP and the NDC parliamentary candidates in the Adentan constituency are both confident they will be victorious in the December polls for that seat. Surely, there will be joy and disappointment after the elections in December. The two locked horns on the maiden edition of the battleground here on Joy FM at Joy News were on radio last night, hosted by MFA Apau. Joseph Opoku Gakpo put together this report.
Last night's show brought to listeners an in-depth analysis of the trends in the Adentan constituency since it was created in 2000.
So the water situation has improved. But what I'll say about the people of Adenta is that a lot of them have learned to be self-sufficient.
Okay.
Because, see, for a long time, they didn't have water. But they survived.
They are not difficult people.
No. To the contrary, they'll show you
by voting. Okay.
There were the residents who rooted for the incumbent Yaboabeng Asamoah.
They are telling lies. We are not losing. Things are cool here.
And those who strongly backed the NDC's Adamu Ramadan.
MPP supporter, but Ramadan and winning.
Both men say they are cruising to victory.
I can't tell your sample size, but I'm very, very confident that the people of Adenta within the past 3.5 years have noticed a gigantic difference compared to the 8 years the NDC were in power before. And clearly, there is that understanding that what is happening must continue. And clearly, again, there is that understanding that the continuity depends on the personality in charge.
He's saying that the understanding is that he should continue. I believe that this understanding only exists in his house. I mean, from the people you spoke to, it's very evident that people really desire change in this constituency. I mean, it's so clear that this is not a seat that we would say is a swing seat. I believe that Yaboabeng Asamoah benefited from the desire for change in 2016, and if elections were held today, he's saying that the understanding is that he should continue. I believe that this understanding only exists in his house. I mean, from the people you spoke to, it's very evident that people really desire change in this constituency. The message is the same. That's Ramadan. Let's just pray for good health and long life. Once December 7th comes, God willing, Mohammed Adam Ramadan is going to be the Member of Parliament for Adenta constituency.
Our analysts also had their say.
I think the 2020 election will be different, and I think it will depend on who wins the presidential election. If the president will win, then Yaboabeng Asamoah will win. If he doesn't win, then Ramadan will win. Because the data shows that they don't give a second term, but the data does indicate that the party whose MP wins the seat, that party tends to be in power. And I think the fact that the two candidates have been repeated, that brings in the new dynamic, and I'll go for that particular data.
But also because of the point you made earlier about the voter population, which has really crossed the 150,000 bracket. So that could be. But my point is that it appears historically, if you look at the historical analysis, and in politics, history matters. There are no absolutes in politics. But if you look historically, the cards are stacked against Yaboabeng Asamoah in terms of the pure history. What the history tells us.
The fact is that no MP has retained.
Exactly, no MP has retained. But I must emphasize the point I made earlier, that he's still the only MPP winning candidate who has also delivered
for the presidential
candidate.
Okay.
And so that makes
him unique.
And then also the numbers. And so I'm saying my projection is that it's going to be close, and that it will come down to who wins the national elections. I agree with you there.
Well, Lejokuku is the next stop for our battleground analysis next week. Stay tuned.
The battleground yesterday. Now, who will do what about using motorbikes for commercial transport? Electoral Commission increasing filing fees for presidential candidates from 50,000 to 100,000. Some smaller political parties are calling for an emergency IPAC meeting to relook at the fee. We have also some views on the filing fee. Let's begin with some opinions on the Okada politics. So, Bryce Simmons writes, I can't wrap my mind around the whole Okada legality debate. You can ride a motorcycle and carry another person on the back legally. But if you charge that person money, then it suddenly becomes risky and unsafe. That's illegal. And he puts a very big question mark at the bottom there. Governmental right, Okada business is, semicolon, 1, a major source of honest employment for many people. 2, a major service provider of choice in traffic-locked urban areas and underserved rural cities, rural areas, and elsewhere. He says if you're not prepared to legalize and properly regulate this important transport and economically viable subsector, then you are not prepared to run a nation like Ghana. Yes, it is hard work, but it must be done. Get serious and do the real work. We have the views on Nana Komia and Professor Kweku Azar on the EC filing fees. Here is what they say. Nana Komia writes, head the NDC General Secretary speaking vehemently against the 100,000 Ghana Cedi presidential filing fees announced by the Electoral Commission. I wished the Electoral Commission would consult/engage the political parties before such announcements. And Bryce Simmons again writes, well, he's talking still about the Okada legality. We'll be getting you more of what the thoughts of people are. You just heard about Nana Komia and what he had to say about the 100,000. As you know, some of the smaller political parties are petitioning, actually writing, led by the APC, are writing to the Electoral Commission to change the fee. Well, let's take a look at this one. It says the NDC had imposed a 420,000 filing fee on the presidential aspirant. This was met. All right, let's go back to that one. It says that the NDC had imposed 420,000 filing fees on the presidential aspirant. This was met with loud protest from all but one of the presidential aspirants, which protests were ridiculed by the same General Secretary. Eventually, the filing fees were reduced from 420,000 to 300,000. Essentially, he's looking at what happened within the NDC itself when they had to choose a flag bearer. He refreshes our minds, on what happened, that the price was put at 420,000 cedis, and a lot of the political, flag bearer hopefuls complain. He says only the current flag bearer did not complain. He goes on to say, now when a political party imposes filing fees of 300,000 on its own aspirants for an internal election, how is it now protesting at filing fees of 100,000 for a national election? Nana Komia writing. Professor Kweku Azar writes, this may be random, but it is worth noting that the EC filing fees have ballooned under the leadership of Ms. Osei and Mensah. That's Jean Mensah and Charlotte Osei, compared to their predecessor. From 1992 to 2004, presidential candidates paid 500 cedis and parliamentary candidates paid 20 cedis. The same reasonable amount held constant for 4 cycles. I am back at 3 p.m. here on your dial with the Pulse. For now, let's do sports today with Nathaniel Atto. My name is Gifty Andwapia. Thank you so much for staying with us. There's more at myjoyonline.com.